Yep.
What's up, everyone? We are here with another episode of Comic Character of the Week. I will be hosting tonight because Sal is sick. He had some bad tacos, and I guess that's what happens when an Italian guy decides he's gonna
eat Mexican.
Some Mexican. So
yeah, he should have known better.
He is sick. He has been throwing up all day, but he is with us in spirit. Thankfully, only in spirit, because I don't want to see that. And I'm sure you don't either. But
I don't know how that throw up gets past his nose, though. Like, it's got to go back in.
Oh, no, that's terrible. But if he throws up, it'll be in the palette of the Italian flag.
Well, he said that, him and his wife and his daughter, they got, I won't say the name of the place because, defamation. But because Codex, we're worldwide, baby.
Yeah.
So did he actually get it from? Did he actually eat somewhere and it didn't go well, or are you embellishing?
No, that's what he told me when he messaged me earlier. Because he messaged me this morning. What's up, Richard? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Richard.
He messaged me this morning to let or like late morning, real early afternoon to let me know. Said he'd been throwing up for 3 hours and that they got food last night after the podcast, and it was him and his what's up, Booge?
Booge.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with you, Richard. But yeah, he said that they went and got something. His wife didn't eat any of it. I guess they got it delivered. His wife didn't eat any, and his daughter, as he said, has a cast iron stomach, so it didn't affect her. So it only affected him.
Wow.
So that is him admitting to me that his adolescent daughter can handle it better than he can. Sounds like the Predator's back stalking Jamie.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes. So you don't hear that at all on your end?
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Adam? Yep. Sal did.
I'm ready to see a laser go through Jamie's head at any second. Yep. Does sound like
why I'm lighting up.
Yep.
Get to the chopper!
Listen, unfortunately, yeah. Nice. Unfortunately, the Chiefs don't suck, which is our problem. So
they're just good enough that the refs can give them a couple calls at critical moments during the game to decide the outcome of it.
Hey, listen, that's true. The refs we went up against, we're 0-7 against Hockey League Crew ref. When Hockey League Crew's a referee, his group of officials. So we had our own challenges, but dropped the ball 4 times.
I was going to say, in fairness to that too, it didn't help that on the first play, the first offensive play of the game for the Eagles that they let Saquon run like 70 yards for a touchdown.
It was only 60. It was only 60.
Oh, only 60.
Yeah, two broken tackles, and it doesn't help when you fumble the ball 3 times.
And the backup running back who only had 30 yards for the season, and he got 70 in the one game.
Yep, absolutely.
That whole series where they were on the goal line and he kept jumping and jumping until the ref had to say they have been instructed that if this behavior continues, the referee can award a.
I wanted that to happen. Just screw. I'm so sick of the tush push. Can't stand. And they line up off sides when they do that play. They're not. They're. Yeah, they're breaking. But it doesn't matter. They're a better team, obviously. So that's all right.
It kills me that I have to root for them because they're the ones playing the Chiefs.
Well, you know what? It kills me that I have to root for the Chiefs because I can't stand Philadelphia. And even worse than Philadelphia, Philly fans. Worst fans in football.
You heard about the guy that died, right?
Oh, he fell off the signpost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still sounds good.
Yeah, fell off the signpost. So Philly fans, worst fans in football. They don't deserve to celebrate anything. No, they can't. We dropped the ball. And then the one that really hurt was in the third quarter where maybe we're clawing our way back. Eckler's fumble was just crucial. If they score on that, then it's a 1-score game, and who knows? Maybe it's fourth quarter magic time for Jaden again.
Jamie's just sitting there listening knowing that his Jaguars have already been eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, dude,
The
their head
offseason
coach.
hasn't even started yet.
Did you see my post the other day?
Duval.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when after the Bears drafted Caleb Williams and they had him at the first press conference when he was leaving. He was like, Chicago. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Oh God.
Oh well, he was turning it down, and then they fired the GM, and then he took it.
Yeah, which all the Bucs fans are pissed off because he said, "I'm staying, I'm not going," and then they, all these. Well, it was all these head coach applicants that were not even that wouldn't even go into to take an interview, and they said, "Yeah, it's your GM. We're not working for him." So finally, they fired the GM, which everybody hated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems I'm happy our OC is not going anywhere.
I'm happy the Ravens offensive coordinator isn't, because there was talk of him, getting a head coach job, but there's only one job left open, and if they were going to hire him, they would have already.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I'm happy about? Today's character.
Darkseid.
Yeah. One looks like a light side, though. It's more of a light blue.
Just to say, too, for the Raiders, I love the memes since they hired Pete Carroll. Like, it's so great that Pete Carroll now, just that he just exists to screw with Jim Harbaugh. Because when Harbaugh was coaching at Stanford in college, Pete Carroll was the rival at USC. When Harbaugh was with the 49ers, Pete Carroll was the rival at
Seattle.
Now that he's with the Chargers, Pete Carroll's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go coach the Raiders."
Jamie, this is the original Superpowers one that was from before you were born. And his eyes light up when he gets a light source right under his eyes. Let's see.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't let the Chiefs find out about that rule that the ref can automatically
award touchdowns. Yeah, we found that out. Yep. Oh, there's a predator. There it is.
I don't know what it is.
Well, now it's gone.
If you see three laser dots on Jamie, he's gone.
That's fine. I'll be happy for a minute. But real fast, let's talk about something business-wise. Guys, you guys got one more day left for a giveaway.
Oh, look at those books.
It's
much better than the TV show.
Yeah, the whole series of Secret Invasion. Now, like I've said before, all you got to do, if you haven't yet, put hashtag giveaway in the chat. And if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe, take a screenshot of it, send it to us on our social media, and we will enter you in automatically. That way, you guys don't miss a chance. And if you're a member for the $1 a month, you're automatically entered for all the giveaways. So don't miss out on it.
Have any of you tried this new Blackberry Dr. Pepper?
No.
It's delicious. Just putting that out there. Maybe they'll sponsor us.
Delicious.
Drinking it tonight. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, we got you, Richard.
Yeah, Richard, you've been on you're the first one.
I was gonna say, I think there's like 3 or 4 of you guys that are on all the time and enter, like Richard, Bougie. Like we'll do a giveaway and just like your name automatically on there because we know you're gonna enter. Pam.
Predator.
Yeah, Predator.
I have no idea what it is.
See more of the Ric Flair. Woo!
Chat, do I sound like Predator on your side? Just let me know.
Yeah. Who was it Ric Flair was married to that beat him up?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
I'm telling you, Bougie, it's delicious. I got it. I just saw it, and I'm like, I'll give that a try. It's so good. But yeah, I just remember the jokes at the time because, Ric Flair would always say, like, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. It's like, I guess his wife wanted to be the man because she like hit him in the head with a frying pan or something.
Perhaps he did not want to raise his hand to a lady.
He should have raised it to block that frying pan from smacking him in the head.
Well, maybe he figured the head could take it better than his hand could. He might break some fingers.
Fair enough.
Okay, they can hear it too. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
I don't hear it now.
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's a chittering is what it is. There it is. Yep.
You're Predator. Awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that, or it also kind of sounds. I think I said it before. You know, like the little wheels with the little pins, and you spin it like the Wheel of Fortune thing, and you spin it on something. It kind of sounds like one of them. Like Jamie's just got a prize wheel always spinning in his room.
I'm just gonna stand here like this.
It's more Predator. Yeah.
Is it?
I wouldn't hold that because
it's here.
if the Predator thinks that's a weapon, he'll kill you.
Real quick, Jamie, just go rub mud all over yourself so he can't see you.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's get this going.
All right. Do you want to hit the?
I'll get it.
Okay.
Give me 1 second here, because I gotta see where he put all the stuff on here. So we will see you guys in about a minute.
Darkseid.
What's up? Welcome back to another Comic Character of the Week. Got most of the usual crew here. Sal, unfortunately, tonight is battling food poisoning because he dared to venture away from his Italian roots, and it did not agree with him. No, it did not affect his young daughter. So, take from that what you will. But we're all here. We're all good to go. Got right here with me Jamie. Oh, apparently we have 2 Dan Kelly arts here tonight. That's really cool. Thank you.
I didn't know who was who.
Fix that right now.
But
I'm confused.
yeah, there we go. We got
that's Jamie. I didn't know.
Yeah.
the
Dan's twin. I thought it was the Predator.
the master builder.
You're calling Dan a predator?
You're the Predator. I heard the noise.
We got the Ric Flair of comics, Uncle
Woo!
Gary, here with us.
Yep.
And if you haven't guessed by the intro and by the figure that Gary has there, who's the character we're doing tonight?
It would be Pink Floyd would say he was on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, or John Cafferty, which is the song I use when I posted it on the Instagram page today.
That's right.
Oh, I forgot to show it in the pre-show. I'm going to post this tomorrow. I drew this in honor of the thank you, Richard, by Dan Kelly. Which, if you want to buy some, here's something I drew just for tonight's episode.
Oh, that's good. I love the eyes. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm undecided if I'm going to color the rest of it, but I thought it would be cool.
I think that's pretty cool. Getting ready to give you the Omega effect.
Yeah, so I will be posting that tomorrow with a link to this episode. So go check that out. But if you guys are ready, let's just go ahead and
tell us about the origins of this.
Yeah.
This badass looking dude.
Well, he first appeared in the prestigious title Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
Yes, he did.
134 from December 1970. That's where he had his a cameo. It was just a one-panel thing where he's on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But his first full appearance was the next year in Forever People #1 in February 1971 when he appeared in full, created by the King, Jack Kirby.
Yep.
Thank you, Booze. Appreciate that. So, how do you pronounce this name, Gary? Prince Uxus?
I think Uxus.
Uxus, Uaxus, something like that.
I think it's Uxus.
Uxus, that's it. Well, I could see why he changed his name. But his was originally Prince Uxus, the son of King Yaga Khan, the ruler of Apocalypse. He wanted to take over, so he murdered his older brother Drax, not the Drax from Marvel. There's another Drax.
Yep.
And he claimed the Omega Force for himself, took control of the planet Apocalypse and changed his name to Darkseid, which, let's face it, if your name is Uxas, the first thing you're going to do when you get some level of power is you're going to change that name.
Yep.
And speaking of powers, what he's got, he is virtually immortal, superhuman strength, invulnerability, controls the Omega Force, which, is what shoots those badass lasers out of his eye, which the energy beams that if it hits you will kill you instantly.
Kill you dead.
Kill you dead. Just leave
Kill
you
you dead.
You did.
So, that's out of the way. Not a very complicated origin. Powers is he's basically the guy that you can't stop.
He's a god.
Find a way to stop him a lot. So as far as what works best for the character, since it's your character, Jamie, since your pick, why don't you start us off with this one?
Oh, and you hit it right on the head. Like, it's a character you can't stop. And that's the way he should be. It should be, that's how he works best. Like, he's unstoppable. He should be able to just slap you away, and that's it, and get rid of you, or flick. It doesn't matter. And if it comes down to the Mega Beams, like, you're screwed.
What about you, Gary? What do you like?
Oh, he's DC's big bad. He's not just a villain, he's a god. He's a dark god is what he is. And I think this is one of Kirby's masterpieces. And well, love that. You're channeling some Chris Sports.
I was going to say, did Chris take over Richard's feed?
Yeah, exactly. That sounds exactly something like Chris would say. But he's DC's big bad. He's not just a villain; he's just a dark god. And usually it takes quite a bit to defeat him. I know Superman has had some success, but it's taken all he's got to be able to handle him. Usually it's a whole Justice League type situation to deal with Darkseid. Jack Kirby, DC likes to talk a little smack to Marvel by saying that they gave Jack Kirby more money for just creating Darkseid than he got for creating more than half the Marvel universe. So that's DC's jab at him. But Jack Kirby, what a mythology he built around this character. With the New Gods and the Forever People and High Father and Orion and Light Ray and just the whole pantheon of the New Gods, with Apocalypse and New Genesis, just a really just rich tapestry that he wove around, and this guy being the, like I said, the dark god of that fourth world that he created. So I love it when he's sitting on the throne and he's malevolent as hell, and his designs are evil, and that he's obsessed with the anti-life equation. So he's DC's big bad. Refs. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel's big bad, you could argue, is Thanos, and Thanos is based on Darkseid.
Right. And there's some people that that think that this is a ripoff of Thanos. And
yeah, other way around.
It's the other way around, baby.
But yeah, I agree with you. Kind of like he's the big bad, because he never really engages directly himself to start out anything. He's all these minions, and then he'll finally come in at the end. So, to me, it's almost like you're playing a video game, and you've got to go through all the end level bosses until you can get to the main boss at the end, which is Darkseid. Which is the hardest one to beat, because that's what it kind of seems like. But yeah, he's just, when he finally decides to come out and fight and just wrecks everything. And we said, created by the king, Jack Kirby. And it just kind of makes you, I was thinking about it, just makes you wonder if he, hadn't had this falling out with Marvel at the time and he stayed there, would Marvel have had the New Gods?
I don't know if you can put that up there.
That's pretty good, Boosh.
Yeah, Boosh.
Would Marvel have had Apocalypse and New Genesis and all the New Gods, would that have gotten woven into Marvel? Which, think about how different that would have been for Marvel, and think about how different DC would have been without having all that there. How many stories have been based, around all of these fantastic characters?
If he had done that for Marvel, we wouldn't have the Eternals.
Yeah, as I say, we wouldn't have the Eternals
or the Deviants and those things tied together. Yep.
Yeah, because then when he got pissed off at DC and went back to Marvel, he didn't get to finish his Third World Saga the way he wanted. So he goes over back to Marvel and creates the Eternals and the Deviants, which is just like the the Wish version of the New Gods. But you just think, but you just you think how different things could have turned out.
Yeah. And the the Eternals and all that were a very, very watered down version of the Fourth World stuff. They're very.
It's like we were talking about not too long ago about how like DC and Marvel were always so competitive, making that next best team, but taking ideas from their team to make their next best team. And you just see it here. Like it's the same concept. It's copy paste, but let's just change the outfit.
Well, the Fantastic Four, the origin is the Challengers of the Unknown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Darkseid was originally intended just to be the antagonist for the New Gods, and then ended up becoming like really the antagonist for Superman, the Justice League, and all of that. So let's jump into the badass moments for the character. I'm gonna start off on this one. The first one I have is from Green Lantern, 80-page giant, issue 3, which I guess Jamie had. So in that one, it's the Green Lantern Corps early in the Corps, which shows you how old Darkseid is. This happens early in the formation of the Corps, before they had a lantern for each sector, and and they were very small. They sent the lantern to Apocalypse, who was saying, I'm gonna, you can't do what you're doing. You got, we gotta have order. I'm here to lay down the business. Darkseid crushes his hand, takes his ring, sends him away. He convinces the Guardians, we need more people. They build up the army. They train. They go back, and Darkseid just kills, him and his minions, kill half of them, got the Guardians to surrender and basically say, as long as you keep it contained to where you're at, because your planet, it's far outside of everything else, we're just going to leave you alone, but you have to stay here, which, as we, looking at it from the future, we know he did not. So that's it. And that story also introduced one of the most badass lanterns, Raker, and I know I'm going to mispronounce this name, Quarrigat. Read that story. I'm not going to get into it too much with him, but read that story, and you will see that this guy is one of the most badass Green Lanterns that there have ever been. And he's got a really great moment in it when Kyle is saying something about not having a ring. He's like, whoever said I didn't have a ring?
Yeah.
He picked it out of the place Christopher Walken kept the watch in. He did not. I'm just saying that.
Little man, this watch. My next one comes from Darkseid versus Galactus. It is now Darkseid tries to shoot Galactus with the Omega beams, and it shows you how powerful Galactus is. He just brushes it off. He's like, whatever. So that's not too bad, but it's when Galactus hooks up his machines to Apocalypse and is going to feed on it, and he finds that Darkseid has stripped the planet so much that there's literally nothing there for Galactus to get from it. So he just packs up and leaves. He's like, you've destroyed this world so much, I can't get anything out of it.
There's no nutrition.
Yeah, none.
Yes. So that's, if you want to say badass moment, I mean badass in the fact that he just, destroyed his world, but no one's ever turned Galactus away in that way.
Nope.
The last one I got is from Legion of Superheroes number 293, where he in the future takes control of all of the inhabitants of Daxam and sends them out into the galaxy to just destroy and pillage at everything in his name. But before he does that, because everyone in Daxam, he puts the sun there, changes the sun so that they can all get the same powers that Superman and Mon-El have, and he has them literally reshape their planet so that it looks like him. He turned their planet into Mount Rushmore with just one head, and it was his. So what do you got, Jamie, other than Green Lantern 80-page giant?
Green Lantern 80-page giant. And everything else dancing. No. But I do have, this comes technically from Final Crisis #1, but you find out in Final Crisis #6 who did it and who done it, and it was Darkseid. But Darkseid killing Orion.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him slap around Calabac a few times, backhand a couple other characters, but to kill your own son just to win and just to show there's just the ruthlessness is the villain badassness you need. The other one I had was from New 52, Justice League #4, when he just demolishes the league, smacks Superman and Green Lantern like they're nothing, takes out Wonder Woman, takes out everybody that's standing in his way, and just stands and reigns supreme. Like, just for them to form their team and be like, what happens if he comes back? What do we do? Might want to stick together on this. So those are my three.
Yeah, he was instrumental in the in really throughout that whole Justice League run from New 52.
Yeah, because everything was put in effect just due to that first 4-issue arc to lead all the way to the last arc.
Well, it bookended, right? It bookended with the Darkseid War.
Yeah.
So what about you, Gary? What are your favorite or badass moments for Darkseid?
All right, two of them I've been talked about. In Darkseid versus Galactus the Hunger. So, yes, it was really cool that there was nothing left on the planet. It had been stripped bare, so Galactus couldn't feed. But as they're fighting, I agree with that, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Omega beams Darkseid used on Galactus had no effect. But what's really badass is Galactus hits Darkseid with an ultimate power blast. And Darkseid, just blows him away with it. But Darkseid survives it. He takes it. And it doesn't kill him. Stops him, but doesn't kill him. So the fact that Darkseid could take that full blast from Galactus and survive, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And, most people that take a full blast from Galactus.
I know. A Galactus blast. That's right. I know. You get, you can imagine how that could cover you from head to toe.
Dripping, just like the Socials.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely dripping. So with Daxam, also to talk about that, he teleported the whole planet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
from where it was a red sun.
Yeah.
To a yellow sun where it gave the Daxamites powers like Superman has. So, because Mon-El was a Daxamite.
Yeah.
So he teleported the whole damn planet to another solar system so he could put the Daxamites, who he had under his thrall, to give them Superman-like strength. So that was a part of the Great Darkness saga with the Legion. But that's pretty badass. And like they had said, then they start sculpting the planet, in the shape of Darkseid's image. But you have a whole planet to do your bidding, and they're all Superman powered. That's pretty badass. That's pretty tough. But to do that, he teleported the whole planet. The last one is more recent, but in Infinite Frontier Zero, there was a group called the Quintessence, and he beat them. Okay, I'm sure he beat a group called the Quintessence. Well, Quintessence is Ganthet, Hera, Highfather, Phantom Stranger, Spectre, and the Wizard from Shazam. He beat that group.
Shazam!
Yeah, Shazam is right. There's Gomer Pyle. Shazam, Andy. Yeah. Wow. That's quite the group to dispatch.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. There's not many that have the power level that he has. But let's, not everything's perfect with this character. So, there are things that we don't like about him. There are criticisms we have. So why don't you start us off on this one, Gary, with what it is you don't like about him?
What I don't like about him is less about him. And I mentioned it before. I hate it when people think he's a Thanos ripoff.
Yeah.
That really burns my ass. Know your freaking comic history. Just because, especially when they saw the Justice League movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, that's just like Thanos." Dude, no. Know your history.
It's the same thing with Timberwolf and Wolverine. You're
Absolutely.
like, oh, that's just a Wolverine ripoff. Like, yeah, he did rip off Wolverine a decade before Wolverine was created.
Absolutely. So that's exactly right. So, I mean, yes, are things derivative and repetitive? Sure they are. But before you go spouting off, as much as I love Gail Simone, even she gets things wrong. She was criticizing some fan that had talked about, I think Wonder Woman may be fighting the Hulk. And she said, well, that's two different comic companies. It doesn't happen. But there was the Marvel DC crossover Treasury edition where it's Wolverine versus Hulk. So, so even comic pros get it wrong sometimes. So I think that was, so that, I think that's the most aggravating thing I have about it when people think he's a Thanos ripoff. As far as how the character's used, I really don't have any complaints. I mean, I think Richard had a great point that I don't think DC overuses him. I really don't. I mean, you can make a case like, do they overuse the Joker? Probably. And some of the other characters, but I don't believe they overuse Darkseid. When it's usually a pretty big bad event when you bring him in. It's like in the whole. Okay, Blackest Night had nothing to. He wasn't in Blackest Night at all, right?
No.
I was just thinking about that today. How that was such a big event, but they didn't just shoehorn him in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd been a totally different book if he was in it.
Yeah, so I think DC is very judicious about how they've used him, and maybe part of the problem is he's so powerful you can't just have him in every other issue because then when you defeat him multiple times, you kind of hurt the aura of how powerful the character is. I mean, you can defeat the Joker as many times as you want because he's a psychopath that's just going to keep coming back for more. That's part of his MO. Keep beating me. Here I am. Do it again. But with Darkseid, I think you damage his invincibility, his aura of invincibility when you just beat him too often. And you've got to come up with a really powerful story to even explain how he could be beaten. So I have no complaints really with how he's used.
Well, I would say that would kind of be my one criticism. He does get, and it's not just him, it's villains throughout comics, no matter how big and bad they're built up. Like, he does kind of get beat a lot. Like, for a guy that's literally an evil god and rules over his own planet and all this, he doesn't fully accomplish these goals that he sets out to all the time. Like Superman, all these, the new gods, they're all still kicking around and stuff. And he seems to, he always talks about how he doesn't want any, accept any failure or any people around him that don't succeed. But all of these minions that he sends out, kind of don't always succeed. Like, you feel like he would start taking them out here and there and be like, you're too weak, you're gone. Whereas if, I like it when, like I said, when he's almost like the final boss where you have to get through all these lower ones to get to him. But, it just seems like someone as powerful as him would have some kind of more major victories.
I think the thing with the minions being not effective, I think there's a cruelty in him that enjoys their failure. So maybe it's counterintuitive, but I think he enjoys their failure so he can always constantly degrade them and punish them and put them in their place. And, you have to let me show you how it's done. you suck. Yes, I just think there's a part of him and he loves to pit them against one another.
Yeah.
So he loves to pit them against, I mean, Calabac is also his son, and he treats him like ass.
Oh, yeah.
He treats him terrible, man. And of course, Darkseid is little Toady. So, I mean, it's just such a great, rich tapestry. Granny Goodness is a piece of twisted work, too, So, I mean, my goodness, what a whole universe he created with that stuff. So, yeah, so I think part of Darkseid's sick cunning is he likes to see these, put them against each other and then watch them fail so he can mete out his punishment to them. He's a sadist is what he is.
Oh, yeah, he is. So what about you, Jamie? What are your criticisms of him?
I hate his fail-safe when he's exiting. Every time he just all right, I'm losing. Boom, tube, boop, right back to Apocalypse.
Yeah.
What? You can single-handedly, and it's shown, defeat the Justice League. You can take over a planet. You have all this capability, but the moment you start getting pushback, you're like, deuces, and you're out.
Yeah. Later, Tater.
And it happens every instance I've seen Darkseid, it happens. It's like, oh, yep, a little bit more than I thought, whoop, and then he's gone. It's like,
he's like, oh shit, is that Ovis over there? They all turn around and they look back.
Yeah.
Bye. He's in the back of the pickup truck taking off.
He's like, deuces, there's a thing in Apocalypse right now. We have a team building exercise going on. Granny Goodness is bringing the cake.
That's not a cake I would want to eat.
No. But no, it just, to me, that's the only thing that deters me away from the character is how, you being this overpowered, this god, and you're going to sit there and just bloop yourself out of the fight?
Yeah, and there's been story. There was it?
That's a good point.
Was it Cosmic Odyssey, the one where the anti-life equation actually got unleashed, and he's like, "Oh, this isn't what I thought it was. All right, we got to get rid of this now." And he teams up with everyone.
Yeah.
So your entire life's goal is, I guess you're gonna have to workshop what you're gonna do going forward after that.
Right. I like Booge's comment real fast. He should say ta-ta for now before he splits.
That's what he does.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we've gone over things we like and we don't like, but one thing that's always there that we like is covers. Who doesn't love a great comic cover? So,
yeah.
Again, since your pick, well, you know what? Let's start with Sal's picks.
That's what I was gonna do.
So we're going to throw Sal's up first. Oh, you're putting them up? Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Looks like he has crossover. Okay, yeah, Superman 3.
Yep.
Yeah, Superman 3.
John Byrne. That's John Byrne cover.
Yes. Very cool cover.
Yeah.
Middle he's got.
I like how John Byrne draws him because his face, he's supposed to be made out of rock. And
yes.
Byrne draws him like he actually is made out of rock, and a lot of other artists don't.
Just like Byrne drew the Thing like that perfectly. Yes.
Right. Yep. And then Genesis number 3 in the middle, which I think is cool with the Omega beam kind of just blaring.
The shot Omega beam eye.
Yep. Yeah. You don't even deserve 2. You're just getting 1.
Yeah, you're just getting a wink. And then lastly, which is actually one of my covers that was on my top 5-10 list, the Darkseid Oversight special, and it's the basic super villain pose. If you have
I love the little Kirby up in the top corner.
Yes. Yeah, they were giving Jack some love. Who did that cover?
Give me a second, I can find out. Give me a moment here. Special.
Oh yeah, I think it looks Booge. It does look like
Chris.
Yeah,
Chris Burnham.
Oh, that's Burnham. I'm with Booge, man. That looks like Quietly a lot.
It does kind of look like it. But yeah, those are some pretty good. How about you throw yours up next, Jamie?
Yeah. I'm trying to find where you put me. I'm at the bottom. I don't like that.
Oh, great covers.
Yes. So I had Justice League 40 is just showing that for those who read it, the split between them. I just think it's fantastic. And just all the work that they put into that cover. Like, there's so much. Next up in the middle, I got Final Crisis number 4. He just looks like he's ready to throw hands, and that's the Darkseid I want. Like,
yeah, I got that cover on the rack behind me.
Yeah, it just and Omega symbols on his hands, and just the way they played with that blue and pink kind of, it just pops. And then lastly, I have the B variant for Deceased number 6, and you cannot say that's not cool.
Is that Art Germ?
No, I can pull that one up too. But
I know the middle one is Jones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Jones. That was because Jones was supposed to do the entire series, and that's when he
Matina.
When he had come down with cancer and wasn't able to complete the series, so they had to have other artists come in and finish it up, but he was still doing the covers.
Nice. That his artwork in that was just horrific. In a good way.
Yeah.
What a dystopian world he created there. Yep.
And again, like the one all the way on the left, the Justice League one, I like that because it does give him that look, like where he's made out of stone.
Absolutely.
And it's a perfect, there's not much you, can do when it comes to symmetry, but this is just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah,
it does.
All right, so why don't you throw mine up next? So I got a couple old ones and one newer one here. So all the way in the end is Justice League of America 185. I just love that, how you see how gigantic he is with all the heroes below him, and these, they're just like falling off of him.
Yeah.
Just
Perez.
Be badass.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, the one where, it's from the Great Darkness saga, where it's just like, his head is like the giant monolith, and you have all of the Legion below him kind of worshiping him. And again, it's got that granite, rock looking kind of design to the face. And
remember that cover, everybody, when you get to mine. It's a reprise of it, but that is a great cover. I love that cover.
Yes. And then all the way on the end, the variant for Dark Crisis number 1. He just got that pissed off look on his face. You got the Omega beams kind of smoke trailing out of his eyes. He's literally walking through fire. He's got Superman's tattered cape in his fist, going forward like, all right, I already beat up him.
See, he tugged on Superman's cape.
Yeah. But, so that's mine. And then why don't we throw Gary's up to close it out?
There we go. So, on the right, that one we've seen before. That's that great John Byrne and Superman Volume 2, number 3. Just a great cover holding the limp, lifeless Superman. The one in the middle is a reprise of that great Legion cover by Lee Bermejo, where I just think it's a great... I'm glad Dan used the other one, so we have both of them in here. Yes. So, where they're worshiping the great stone edifice that they have constructed. And then the one on the far left, got to give the king some love. That's Jack Kirby. So, New Gods, Volume 2, number 1. And so, I was happy to get a Kirby cover on here.
Well, real fast, just to say, that, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Bermejo with everything, especially with the, I still won't pronounce it, the Shuffer and Shuckertash of Terror, or whatever.
The epitaphs from the abyss.
The comic I can't wait not to show every week on Comics Unleashed.
Yeah, you're right. They kind of, I don't know. He was very disappointing to me with how they handled him. And everything to me was disappointing in the Justice League movie, but especially how they how they handled Darkseid when he shows up in the beginning and the good guys beat him away, and then it's like thousands of years, and he just can't remember how to get back there. Like, what is that? Like, there's so many plot holes in that movie, and that's just one of them.
The greatest Green Lantern suit ever was in that scene.
But to go along with the covers, there's always great stories. So why don't we? You want to throw Sal's up first?
That's what I was gonna do.
All right. So
throw Sal's up since that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I gotta. So I'm real fast. I'll talk for the middle one for Sal. Justice League Odyssey. If you get a chance to pick this series up, 100% do it.
It was good. It was good.
It will not fit. The team dynamic in that and the players in it, you would not think they'd mesh well, but they did fantastic. And then you guys can take the other two.
Well, I know that we're going to get to them on.
They're on mine too.
List,
yep.
So we'll just.
Oh, okay. Well then,
I was gonna say, remember what he's got on there, and why don't you throw Gary's up next?
If I can find where Gary is. There we are.
All right. So let's go with Justice League. Now, Sal put Justice League Odyssey. I actually had Cosmic Odyssey on there. The one by Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. It's kind of a different take on Darkseid, where things don't go his way, and he actually recruits heroes to help him in his.
Yeah, that's the one where the anti-life equation got out, and it's like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. So he had to do some damage control. I like that one because that's a different take on Darkseid that you don't usually see. So I love the difference in that, where he had to work with the heroes. The Great Darkness Saga is just a fantastic book, and it was. I was
gonna say, don't be mad at me. I've never read it.
Yeah, it's Legion. I know y'all don't read, or you don't read. You haven't read Legion a lot, but it really encompassed 290 to 294. But there were hints about things that were coming with this that were seeded in the Legion books way before that. But the culmination was the Great Darkness Saga, and it was fantastic, where he was going to take over the whole freaking universe. And it's just a great book. It's one of the greatest Legion stories. If we ever do we ever have a comic character of the week team edition and we do the Legion, that'll be on my Legion reading. So it's just one of the greatest Legion stories of all time. And then Rock of Ages was part of the Grant Morrison run of Justice League. And it's set in the future of about, from when they were doing the book, they were setting it like 20, 25 years in the future. And Darkseid had won. There was a great, there's an ad on one of it where it's Earth has been kind of run down, like what Darkseid has done on Apocalypse, and on a building that's kind of half standing. There's a poster and it says Darkseid is. I mean, I just love the attitude of that. But JLA has got to go. They've got to go, forward and backward in time to defeat him, and it's just a really cool story. Great JLA story, great Darkseid story, messing with the timeline, going back and forth, trying to work in the past to defeat him in the present. So I just really, really enjoyed that run. So that's it for me.
All right, Dan, you want to go?
Oh, I was going to say, when I'll close it out. Why don't you go with yours next?
Yes, Cosmic Odyssey. Absolutely,
yeah.
Bruce.
It was a 4-issue miniseries, I think.
Yeah. Yes, 4 issues, 1 through 4. Mike Mignola and Jim Starlin.
Yeah.
All right, mine are going to be different than everyone's, obviously. I got Darkseid War from New 52. There's so much you could say from the very beginning of that series to the very end of that series that just cultivates all of Darkseid. But that whole ending was just, I've never besides probably Blackest Night, had a more intense read than the end of that series with Darkseid War, especially introducing Grail into the mix.
Yep.
Everyone off Apocalypse, the manipulation tactics he uses, the way he just like stomps the Justice like consistently. It just amazing read. Next up, I got a more recent one. I got All In. For anybody that's trying to maybe get into this character, I think that's a great place to start. You know, it's a jumping on point. Showing Darkseid, and I don't know if I should give away who other powers he takes, but just showing how Apocalypse looks and how the story is going to be set up throughout this whole, what was it? What did they say? 2-year span.
Yep.
Once you read it, you'll be wanting more.
And he used the Legion's miracle machine to do it.
Yeah. So last one, I had to do it. I went with Deceased, because he's the reason Deceased happened.
Yeah.
He finally figures out the anti-life equation and sends it to everybody's technology in the world, even affects Cyborg, to the extent that at one point he's just ahead. The whole series, Deceased, Unkillables, was it Planet of the Dead? What's the one with Black Adam that was digital? Can't remember the name of it.
I don't remember.
But there's 5 different spinoffs based just on him doing this alone. So definitely go check those out. I know a lot of them are newer, pretty much 2011 to now. But yeah, I love all of them. So go get them.
Like it.
All right.
Man,
So
damn.
I'll go last because you guys talked about all of mine. So the only thing I will add is, like Gary said, Great Darkness Saga. So you guys said everything there is to say about them, so I'll just give the issue numbers. Great Darkness Sagas from Legion of Superheroes, Volume 2. It's 290 to 294, and kind of wraps up with an epilogue at the end of Legion of Superheroes Annual 3. But if you look at, it's not part of it, but there's a little bit at the end of Legion issue 287 that shows where he's like waking up after having been in this slumber, suspended animation, whatever you want to call it, after all of these centuries, and that's like the start of it, and then the actual storyline starts in 290. Rock of Ages, it's JLA 10 to 15, but it is a couple issues into the storyline before Darkseid really shows up. And then Darkseid War is the New 52 Justice League issues 40 to 50. Oh, I think it actually starts in 41. Like 40 is kind of a prequel.
Yeah, 40 is like a
it's like the setup for it. Yeah, and then it's 40 to 50, and then there's a whole bunch of tie-ins for it, like Darkseid War,
Batman,
Darkseid War, Flash, and and this and that, and you can read them or not read them. It's not really integral to the story.
But they are fun.
Yeah, some better than others, but you don't have to read them to get the whole story.
Booge, that's what we like to hear, man. We like to hear it when people read the stories or buy the covers because they got to have the cover we show. We love to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. And which one were your I'll be looking for it. That's the one I was wondering.
The what'd you say?
Booge put, let me throw that back up. He said, cool, I'll be looking for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I mean they're all good reads.
Yes.
There were some, when I was going back and like reading and rereading some on this, there were some that I was considering putting on here, but like one of them was Legends because he was a big part of that series. But honestly, I couldn't with that just because there's so many characters that act so out of character in that. And the way that it's written too is they beat you over the head with the word legend. Like they just keep mentioning it over and over, and it's to the point where like, all right, I get it. You said the title of the book in the book. But yeah, you know, something that goes along with these great covers and with all of these great stories is the creators that made these covers and that made these stories. So picking a writer or artist that you is your favorite on doing it or one that you would like to see, why don't you start us off with that, Jamie?
So no surprise, I'm gonna go with Johns for my writer.
All right.
I think just to, like Uncle Gary said, bookend to bookend, like it is just amazing that he started and finished it that way. And then surprising, I'm gonna go with Burns for my artist.
Okay.
I still, you guys are really, really, really turning my head to a new, how can I put it, realm of artists that like I would not have thought of before to even like put into this category, because I probably would have just said like Perez if that was the case, because he drew everybody anyways.
Yeah.
So
John Byrne did a hell of a job on it. There's no doubt about that.
It did, like I said, like I keep saying, like I like the way that he made, you know, he's supposed to be Rock, that he made him look like that.
yeah, and if you guys do get a chance, I don't know when it's coming out, I think a couple weeks, but I was on that Nerdy Musing podcast. You guys can hear all about how these guys transform me into the crazy comic guy I am now.
We influenced him.
Oh, I brought up all of you.
So, I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yep.
So, what about you, Gary? If you were picking, who would you put on?
Well, you know, Darkseid is not just about him. It's about that whole world that he inhabits, and it's about Granny Goodness and Glorious Godfrey and Steppenwolf and Calabac and Orion and Forever People and all the new gods and Highfather. So that whole thing was created by one guy. And I don't know how this, I just can't mention a best writer without him at the top of it, because that whole rich tapestry was created by one guy. And that guy is Jack Kirby. So Jack Kirby is my writer. And in that vein, there's a character design for all these characters. There's the way they look. You know, there's you know, the costumes, everything. That was also done by a guy named Jack Kirby. So double duty, my writer and my artist, Jack the King Kirby.
I mean, it's hard to go. There's a reason that he's called the King.
Mm-hmm.
He is the king. And aesthetically, Kirby's not on my Rushmore of artists I love the most, but he must be respected. You know, and attention must be paid to what he's done. And I just can't name anybody else in this category because of what he created here with this. It's like I couldn't pick if we were doing Fantastic Four, it would have to be Jack Kirby, for the art on that. So, but the same thing here, it's got to be writer and artist for me is the king.
I mean, I feel the same way, kind of about Kirby. Like, he's on my Mount Rushmore for comic artists, and it's not as much because of the pure style, because I could look at it and say, well, yeah, the way that, Gary Frank draws, is
right.
Pleasing to look at, or Jim Lee or any of these other guys. But I have to put him on my Mount Rushmore for artists because of all the characters he designed,
Yep. I get that.
All the things that he did as an artist in comics that have influenced all of these guys that have come after him, not just with the design, but like the Kirby Crackle. What other artist has, just a little thing that they draw on comics that has a name, even has a name? And so that's
and the power that emanates from his characters.
Yes.
There's a dynamic sense about them, and the way he does the movements.
One of the things I reread for this was I reread Final Crisis, and honestly, I have them all. I read it as it came out. I didn't like it that much. But I was like, you know what? Let me go back and read it as a whole instead of monthly. And I found that I still didn't really like it that much because it's one of those, like, you can't just read the Final Crisis series and get everything. You have to read all of the different things. If you
Yep.
only read that 7-issue miniseries, you're going to be completely lost because there's so much stuff that just jumps from thing to thing to thing to thing and stuff that happens in something else that's dealt with in like one panel. But Ellis would have been a good one to write. And for me, for writer, I went with Paul Levitz because I loved Great Darkness Saga. I loved the
Yep.
build up to it, and when he finally fully came back with how he was, I really dug that. But if there was an artist or if there was a writer that was going to do something, and I know I've said his name a lot before for things, and, he's not even really working now, but I would love to see what Donnie Cates could do with doing a big event with Darkseid at the center of it.
But make it kind of like almost like a cosmic type thing.
Yeah, because like these big crazy events that he does, and he did some really good stuff with Null and with Thanos. So I'd like to see what he could do with getting a hold of Darkseid.
I bet Alan Moore could have done a really interesting take on him.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Yeah, Kirby. See, I think if you look at Kirby's pencils and you look at the stuff that was finished, I think some of the inkers that worked on him, there's one specifically I'm thinking of. I'm not going to name names, but there's some that worked on him that made his artwork look worse after inking it than it did when it was originally drawn. Because you look at his just pencils on some stuff, and it looks a lot different than finished stuff. Yeah, Morrison did. Morrison did write Final Crisis.
My my favorite Kirby work is Commandy.
Mm-hmm.
I love Commandy. I mean, hardly anybody's read Commandy. I love Commandy, and that's my favorite Kirby. And again, another world he created, But I just loved the art. I loved what he did with the art in there. I have 2 artist editions of Commandy work. I love it so much.
And then for artist, for the classic, you got to go with Kirby because he created him. That's the design that's really stuck. But for a modern one, I went with Jason Fabok with what he did on Dark War.
Yep,
is just badass. But if I was going to pick an artist, I would like to see do an actual full storyline like Donnie Cates writes it and this guy does the art. It would be cool to see what Lieber Majo would do with doing more than just a cover.
Yeah, that cover was fantastic. So yeah. And Bermejo's got that dirty style. You know what I mean? That
gritty.
Yeah, that gritty, dirty, horror infused style. That would be perfect. I agree with that.
At one point, he was going to do a Hellboy story, and then it fell through. But I was like, man, that would have been fantastic.
Oh, that would have been good. His covers on Epitaphs from the Abyss, those horror covers you're doing, are fantastic.
Suffering Succotash from the Abyss.
Suffering Succotash from the Abyss.
Word
Epitaphs. Epinephrine.
That too.
Okay.
I will say this too. When I was reading something about, when I started reading comics too, and I saw his name, it's like, how do you pronounce this? Kirby's one of his art assistants said he always pronounced it Darkseid. Whenever he was around him, Kirby would always pronounce it Darkseid. But if a fan would come up to him and start talking about it and pronounce it Darkseid, he said Kirby would never correct him, and he would just say Dark, and he would just call him Darkseid whenever he was talking to the
Wow, that's interesting.
I was like, that's just super cool of Kirby. Not be like, no, this is what it is. He's like, that's what it is to you. All right, that's cool. That's
it's your interpretation.
Yeah. I just thought that was super cool of Kirby.
That is a great story. I didn't realize that about Kirby. It's a shame he didn't live long enough to see the Marvel movies take off like they did, because it would have been great to see cameos with Stan and Jack, in all the movies like they did with Stan. It would have been great to see Kirby get that kind of love.
Yeah, the only cameo he got was in Trial of the Incredible Hulk.
He was in the jury, right?
No, Stan was No, Stan was in the jury in that.
Oh, Stan was in the jury. That's right.
Yeah, Stan was in the jury. That it was an episode of Incredible Hulk where they had someone in a hospital giving a description to a police sketch artist, and Kirby was the police sketch artist, and it had him sitting there and and actually drawing what the person was describing.
Nice.
And another thing I read that was interesting was who Kirby based the design and personality of Darkseid on. Said that facially he based his look on Jack Palance, and personality wise he based him on Richard Nixon and Adolf Hitler.
Wow. That's a combo pack right there.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
All right, so that kind of wraps it up for us. And anybody got any other dark-sided stuff that they want to throw out there?
Fourth World, I just will say, I loved Kirby's rendition of Funky Flashman and who he based that on.
Yeah,
and Houseroy, who he based that on.
Yeah, I pronounced it Darkseid when I started reading. I thought that's how it was pronounced.
I think I did too. I think I did too until somebody hit me up that it was Darkseid.
Yeah,
but yeah, I believe I was Darkseid too in the beginning.
Personality based.
No. Jeez, Nixon and Hitler. I was way off.
Richard's not allowed to go after the Super Bowl now. So Richard's not allowed on anymore in the chat till after Super Bowl.
Well, I think Richard's a Raider fan too, so that makes a lot of sense.
No, Richard's a Bills fan.
Oh, I thought Richard was a Raiders fan.
No, that's Bougie.
Oh, Bouge is a Raiders fan. There you go. Yeah, I was rooting for the Bills hard. Even after my team went down, I was rooting for the Bills hard. But
I was rooting for them not because I like them, but just because they're not Kansas City.
Oh yeah. Well, as yeah, it was just a shame because I think were you telling me, Dan, that before the games last week, the country was rooting for Washington and rooting for Buffalo, and then after, the main part of the country, just the KC area was rooting for KC, the Philly area was rooting for Philly, the rest of the country was rooting for a meteor strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when they started doing the zigzag mega memes.
I don't know either, but it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Do you know when they first did the Darkseid is what the first comic was that appeared in?
Mr. Miracle 20.
No, you already mentioned it. It was in Rock of Ages.
Oh, was it Rock? So that was the first time they did it. Okay. Well, maybe that's why I love it for so long.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be nice to just be gruntled?
Yeah, right. Well, you guys ready to take this one out then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can put this one to bed. So this has been Comic Character of the Week for Darkseid. We are the Codex Station, along with a bunch of other guys, but they don't matter tonight because they're not here.
Oh, they do matter, Sal. We hope you're doing better, buddy.
Yeah, that's what you get for going against your Italian heritage. But yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art, where I post stuff like this, which I'll be posting tomorrow, which
nice.
is available for purchase if anybody wants it. Otherwise, it'll just go on a page in a book and sit on the floor behind me. But then there is also this man below me with the not just the awesome comic collection, the awesome art collection, figure collection, statue collection, poster collection, everything collection, the Ric Flair of comics.
Woo! All right. Come check me out. Comic Logic. We're Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. Please come by and say hi. We would love to see you. If you're in the Northern Virginia area, come see. You can see me. You can see Mighty Mike Harbor. See Rob Kalin, our principal owner, and we can talk comics. Come in on Wednesday morning. You can see us in person. So we would love to make your acquaintance. Also, check out the Comic Character of the Day site. It is a site founded by our good buddy Archduke Kevy, and now being run primarily by that fella up there. Old Dan Kelly there is running that site. He has a Character of the Day, Question of the Day. I do the cover of the day. Sal's a frequent contributor, and that fella right there, Jamie's always making sure that we give you what you deserve.
Awesome. And while you guys are doing that, go check out the CodeXStation.com. Meet the team, get some merch, let us know what you like and don't like, and find all of
the socials, because we have just like when Darkseid got blasted by Galactus, he was practically dripping with it. We are dripping with all the socials, and we like nothing better than give them to you, baby. The beast is always an avenger, no matter how sick Sal gets. Yeah, oh, there you go. Exactly.
I think we can end the stream here now.
we can. That's what Sal says. He wishes he could end the stream. Go with because Darkseid is.
Yes.
What is he?